Okay, we are now going live. I forgot that we were not going live before, so I apologize. So we missed, if you're just tuning into this, you missed plickers.com, which is a website for basically doing some type of student data tool. It's an alternative to student response systems or clickers, and it's a free tool. So it's plickers.com. The second one is organizing Google Drive, and as I had mentioned, folders is really how you want to organize them. Everything should be in a folder, and you can have subfolders and even more subfolders. And if you're not sure where to start, just start with whatever you start, whatever new documents you start today. Start putting them in folders. And that's what the presenter kind of recommended. And then he also recommended using capital letters for your main folders. So for example, if you have a certain, a math class and then you have a social studies class, make those in caps and then put your subfolders and have those in lowercase letters. Just something that he had recommended. Another session I attended was really, really interesting. Being a school librarian, especially being a solo school librarian, sometimes I don't network enough with academic librarians, and that's something that I'm trying to kind of improve upon because of the college and career readiness type of things that are coming down from the state. So there was this transition to college for our students panel, and what it was is it was a panel of academic librarians at college levels, and it was also school librarians. They also had someone on the panel who is an orientation teacher for college freshmen. And he was talking about what he's seeing students at the college, the very first year college students and the type of skills that they're lacking in terms of research. And so we had a panel, we just talked a little bit about what school librarians are facing, and then also what academic librarians are facing in terms of the problems. And the big thing that they talked about was that students are just coming and they're not used to reading lengthy nonfiction material, which I can tell you I see that at the high school, I see that at the middle school especially. I mean, there's just not a lot of resources that are long, for a semester they have to read a book. Well, our students are not used to reading an entire nonfiction book in that type of time frame. So that was kind of interesting. The other thing was annotating, which I know at our high school we're working with students on doing more annotations. I think with using Evernote and those type of online resources, that's one way to kind of attack that. But I thought it was interesting kind of hearing the academic librarians talk about, what are the high school students learning in terms of citing, annotating, and then also, nonfiction reading. A lot of students just don't understand how to tackle an entire textbook in a semester. So that was kind of interesting. Also, inviting academic librarians to the classroom was an idea that was suggested at the panel, which I will talk to our high school teachers about. I think that would be a great first step. I think a lot of our students have an idea of what's going to be required of them in their college courses, but then they actually don't they think they do, but they don't, type of thing. And we want to kind of show them that they have a certain level that we expect them to know, and that they will have to read an entire textbook in a semester, and they will have to take a test on that material in that book. So I think there was an interesting panel. It kind of opens my eyes to kind of what we need to do more of, and so I just wanted to share that. Okay, another session I went to was really, really cool. It was using Google search to do type of literacy lessons, which was really, really interesting. And I don't know if you are aware, but whenever you're searching something in Google, you have this little box here on the right that says search tools up at the top. And I have seen it, but I never really realized what it was. But when you click on that box, you open up these 3 different tabs. You have an anytime drop-down box, an all results, and then a location, which Google, as you know, usually can sense your location through some type of who knows what privacy thing, but they can find out, where you're at, and you can actually narrow down your results based on those 3 items, which I thought was really, really cool. And I've never played with that before. Also, if you drop down this more, you can actually go to Google Maps and some other Google tools right from there. So instead of typing up here Google Maps or directions or whatever, you can actually just click on the More button. So that's something too I learned. One of the ways you can search, I'm going to go back. If you go to All Results and you click on that drop-down menu, you can actually search by reading level, which I had heard you could do this, but I've never actually seen it in action because I wasn't sure how to get there. So I learned at the session, which was really cool. And Google is kind of on the fence with what is, the proper reading level. They probably will never ever acknowledge Lexile level or any of those type of levels that we use in the education realm. They have divided their reading levels into basic, intermediate, and advanced. And you're probably wondering, well, what are those levels? What they are, and here's an article that I had found that kind of describes it, is that they use a text complexity model. They actually pay teachers to classify pages for different reading levels. I don't know what all that entailed, but they're saying that basic is elementary level, intermediate is anything above basic, and then so anything that even would be in Google Scholar would count as intermediate. And then advanced would be, even more advanced than the intermediate level. So they're very general levels, but I think in the classroom, that's something you can maybe show students how to research and how to find articles that are going to be more on their level.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of a cool idea. I didn't know that you could actually do that. And then if you actually click on basic, all of those basic articles come up at the top of the search. If you click on intermediate, then all of those would come up. So that was interesting. And the lady who was doing the session, she's an English teacher. She was just fantastic. She was saying that, interestingly enough, there's not a lot of advanced articles that pop up. She said there's a lot of legal documents and patent type of documents that pop up, but not a whole lot. So she's thinking that most of the reading levels will be categorized as an intermediate. Another thing that she shared were there's an actual guy, he's called the Google Search Guru, and what he has put together is this website, which I did include the link to this presentation, and I will put it back on the Weebly, and I can also email it to you. But it's this really cool website that he has put together that's called Power, and the one I want you to see is they have a Google a Day challenges, which, Robin, I think this would be really cool with your students especially, is every day they have different type of Google questions that you can't actually type in the entire question in Google, because it's a type of question that's going to require more than just one search, which I think was a really cool way to think about Google, because a lot of students just want to type the question in Google and have it give them the answer.
Yeah.
Well, these type of questions, you can't do that. And it also makes them think about the way they're typing in the question. So, of course, it's something you'd want to kind of, peruse through. Yeah. But they have this: every national flag in the world shares a common geometric characteristic, except for for one country. Which country is it? If you view the challenge, if you click on that, then what it does is it walks you through that. So you can put this up on your smartboard, or you can put it this link in your Google Classroom even. But and then they actually give you the answer, but at the very end. So, and it tells you how to search for it and how to use the different search tools, and then it gives you even more information on it.
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was like an interesting way to kind of look at it. And again, that website, it just has a ton of different things on there, and I thought it was just an interesting kind of thing that I didn't know existed. But on that website, they have other search tools and other search activities, and it's all for education purposes. The other thing that they talked about, which I'm always telling the high school students especially about, are image searching. A lot of times they just pull images from Google Images and copy and paste and call it a day. And that really is not a information literate activity that we want them to do. So we want our students to know about copyright and how images are copyrighted. And by taking an image and pasting it onto something that's publicly viewed in a non-educational setting, could be a copyright violation, depending on the image, depending on who took the image or who owns the rights to that image. So if you are in your main Google page and you click on that wheel that's in the right-hand corner, you can do an advanced search. And once you click on that, you get this page here on the right. And down here, there's a usage rights in blue. And if you drop that down, you can actually search for images that are free to use or share even commercially. So those would be images that are copyright free. You can use them, you can copy and paste them, as well as images to modify. For example, if a student's going to do a Photoshop project, they can copy and paste that and modify that image. And then the other one is images to free or share, images not filtered by a license, which would mean that there's no license attached to it. But again, I always caution students that's not always the safest bet. So I always recommend free to use or share, even commercially. And then once you click your image, for example, if you wanted to find dogs and you want images you can use, you click on search, and then you'll get those. So this is something I think it's a really quick lesson that we can go over with students to get them in that mindset of copyright and copyright with images. And Google has made it kind of a two-step process, which is pretty easy, I think. The other thing that was brought to my attention, which I'll point to, is this Safe Search. Safe Search is a Google tool that filters out a lot of inappropriate images or inappropriate content. And with our filters at school, Safe Search is on because our filters are on. However, if students are at home and they're on their personal computers or they're on their laptops or their iPads and they're searching in Google, the Safe Search may not be on. So if they go to Advanced Search, you can actually turn the Safe Search on by doing an Advanced Search and turning it on. And once the Safe Search is on, it's on. As long as they're logged into their Google account and all that stuff, it's on. They have to manually turn it back off. But this is just kind of another safe type of filter that are on, and especially at schools or places where there are no filters on the images and on the Google, this is kind of a way to combat that. So just a little tip about that. Okay, the other session I went to that I thought was really, really cool was the one-to-one Chromebook session. And with this, since we are going to one-to-one here in the next 2 years, grades 3 through 12, I felt like there were a lot of schools who have already done this, which has made the job a lot easier for us because we can learn from their mistakes. And there was a gentleman there who, let me pull up his session. He was fantastic. Here is his, I think his name was Brian. And I think it's at the end it will show his name. He's a Google Education trainer, and his session was all about their process of doing this. And they are, I forget what district, it's a smaller district, but they are grades three through middle school and high school one-to-one. And he went through their whole process, which was very, was good to see. And oh, here it is. His name was Brian Ditfield. I'll give him credit. And he's the tech director at Indian Valley Local Schools. And as you can see, there's all these new Google certified things that you can now get. Google did take a pause from the Google certifications. They've opened it back up now. It's about $75 a test. And you don't have to take the test. You can go through the training and not take the test, but if you don't take the test, you can't be certified to be a Google educator. There's also a trainer status, and there's also a certified administrator. So they have 3 different assessments now with Google, and they all work with the Google Apps for Education network. So I'll just put that plug out there. So he talked all about the different things about Chromebooks, how they pick their devices, all of that type of thing. But the one thing that he had shared, which let me find it. No, I actually did. There's a Chromebook keyboard layout, which he had shared, which I think was really cool. And then the other thing, which I had already put in my session, is, let's see, the Chromebook trackpad guide. This, I think, I was like, why isn't this out there, more relevant for people to see? And it's how you can use the Chromebook trackpad to do different things, how to move the pointer, left click, right click, drag and drop. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. The other thing he showed was this, the keyboard guide, and how it's different from a PC keyboard. So I thought this was kind of a cool thing too to share, and I'm hoping we can include this in some type of handbook or something that we put together for students so they kind of know this stuff. But again, this is just take practice for students to understand. A lot of the stuff is self-explanatory, but I thought that was kind of a neat thing to share with us. But they've had a very successful one-to-one program. They're I think on their second or third year, and they've been very successful. The one thing that he did say were freshmen and sophomores tend to be the most issues with the dropping and the keyboards cracking and all that good stuff. So knowing that, now we can kind of keep an eye on those. He said the elementary grades or the middle school grades were great. They had no problems. It was more or less the freshmen and the sophomores who, were just kind of a little bit more rough with them. And so it was interesting. And he
Hey,
shared all his.
Angela, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm just getting in. I
Oh, you're
completely
fine.
forgot, but here I am.
Oh,
So
oh, good. Okay.
I didn't want to just lurk around, so I wanted to let you know I made it in.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks. All right, yeah, I'll let you take over in a little bit. I'm finishing up some things, and so yeah, you're actually great timing.
Perfect.
So good, yes. The other thing that was shared during the one-to-one session, which Spark, which is the Portage County ITC site, they provide the internet for a lot of the Stark and Portage County schools. They have this great resource. It's a website, and it's all of the Chrome web apps that they feel would be good for students to have on their Chromebooks. And so I will be sharing this link as well in the presentation that you can visit if you would like. But all different types: news apps, presentation apps, project board apps, which I thought was really cool because you can make a collaborative like whiteboard, and then you can put a link to that, which I thought would be a cool collaborative activity. Lucid Chart and other diagramming apps. Videos, which I thought were cool. Powtoons. I've had a couple students do book talks using Powtoons. Those are really cool, and they upload right to their YouTube account. Audio apps, drawing and art image apps, and then as well as web design. Evernote and video notes are really good for note taking. So this is just a really big, long document. They're always adding to it. I will give credit to Eric Kurtz, who is a technology staff member at Spark. He had put this together, so I will give him credit. And they have some other slideshows and stuff to get more things. And they also have recorded trainings. So just like we're recording this right now, they have other recorded trainings that you can watch about different topics as well. Google Drawings is another one that was a really big hit at the conference this year. Because a lot of teachers want to know how to utilize all of the Google app tools, and Google Drawings is a big one on there. So that was a good one. The other thing that was mentioned during the session was this website, play.google.com. And it's Google Play, which is kind of like an app store, but they actually have an EDU division of it. And something that we can do as a district, just to give you a heads up, is we can actually add or push out apps to students depending on grade level. So for example, all the fifth graders, we could actually push out an app to all of the fifth graders, to all their Google accounts, so that when they're on the Chromebooks and they're using them in the classroom, they all have the app. They don't have to manually add it. So I thought that was a really cool alternative to having students manually go in and add things to their account. And we can actually turn it on to have permissions for teachers, so that teachers can actually push out apps to their classes. I don't know exactly how that would work because we would have to assign teachers to student accounts, which I haven't been in that side of Google yet to kind of mess with that. But it is an option, and some districts are going that way. For example, Brian, his district is going that way. So that was kind of an interesting thing that he had shared. So again, I thought this was the trackpad, the keyboard guide, I think all this stuff was just really good things that they were sharing out that we can also share out with our staff and our teachers and our students. Um, some more thoughts that I had just from other sessions that I went to. I did go to some other sessions. These are the things that my big takeaways that I'm sharing with you today, because I wanted to make sure we had enough time for Emily to talk about what she learned, and then if you guys have questions. But I really feel like Google is really taking over this education market. There are now more Chromebooks in schools than iPads, which is the first time that's ever happened this school year. And also, Google is really realizing that teachers need that ease of use, and they're making things very easy for us to use and to navigate. I know a lot of you are already using Google Classroom, and the sessions on Google Classroom were just kind of all the same. I went to 2 Google Classroom sessions thinking I was going to learn something new, and I did learn a couple like little things, but nothing kind of groundbreaking. So it just goes to show you, I mean, the things they're putting out there for us to use are very user friendly. They are, pretty easy to navigate, pretty self-explanatory for the most part. There's a little bit of training involved, but if you take the time to kind of review it and start with baby steps and small steps, you can figure it out. And I think that Google really wants more education input. The other thing is that creativity is possible, but the teachers need to make it a focus. And with the Chromebooks, I think that makes them more creativity possible in general. There were a few sessions I went on about different apps and that type of thing for iPads and tablets. And what I kept coming back to is they're checking for learning. They're checking for learning, which is great. But I think having students create something authentic is something that will prepare them for future and will also get kind of that critical thinking process down too. So it was interesting to see some of the activities the teachers were having students do with the Chromebooks and with Google, and just trying to kind of you know utilize the tools that are provided and that just make ease of sharing just so easy. So it was interesting to kind of to learn about that stuff. So that's kind of a lot of the big things I learned. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Nope.
No? Okay. Okay, Emily. Emily, again, is from the middle school, and she also attended, although I did not see you at all. That's the thing about EdTech. You hardly ever see anybody that you know there. So, Emily, do you want to share a little bit about what you learned about? And then if you want, you can share the screen and you can show them things, but you don't have to if you just want to talk.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I know. I didn't see you. I volunteered for part of it, so I didn't get to go to as many sessions as I would have liked. But volunteering, I definitely met a lot of other. And so that was really helpful. Two things that I wanted to share with you guys, just real simple that I learned, was one was an idea, and the idea was that you need to make the technology fit the teaching, not the so don't. I know like a lot of educators, we think technology is great, but then just like throw it in and it doesn't really make sense. So a takeaway that I got was that not to just use the technology for the sake of using technology, but really make it meaningful and fit the teaching. So that was one idea that I took away, and then I want to show you. Let's see, screen share. Okay, so one thing that I learned was that on Google Docs, I don't know if Angela went over this already, but you can have add-ons, which I had never even explored before. And so looks like I'm offline right now, but one of the add-ons is EasyBib, and so you can on the side of your screen it'll come up and you can list your sources and you can add those into your document right there. So if your students do like a research project I know in 7th grade we start research. So look for that Easy Bib add-on, and I thought that was a really good way, and especially because like with the park, text evidence is so important now. And then the other one I wanted to show you, which Todd actually just sent out in an email, was OER Commons. And it's like Teachers Pay Teachers, but it's not, you don't have to pay. And there's so many resources, and a lot of it is technology-based. So you can just sign up an account for this, and it's just all these resources. If you're familiar with Teachers Pay Teachers, it's similar to that. Except you don't have to pay. You do have to look at the copyright on some of the things and make sure that you don't violate that. But otherwise, this has a ton of resources. And Todd actually shared it in the Friday Focus. So definitely a good resource. So those are just 2 things. Like I said, I didn't get to have as many sessions as I wanted because I was volunteering, but those are a couple things that I took away from that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Emily, for sharing that. And that got me thinking when you're talking about add-ons. One thing that I will show you is, let me find it here.
Have you seen the Easy Bib add-on?
Yes, I have. I have seen Easy Bib.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might have had an internet glitch or something.
Right.
But yeah, there are a couple more add-ons that you can use. Let me see if I can even pull one up. Let me see. I get nervous when I have all these tabs open.
They have a word cloud that we've used.
Yeah.
Or do they?
Mm-hmm. And yeah.
One.
Yes, there's a calculator one that can do formulas and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can go back to my drive. There's a couple other things. They're not add-ons. They're more of apps that go into the student's Chrome account. And let me see, Docs. So.
Hey, while you're looking for all that stuff there, Angela, I got to give props to Emily for reading my email, number 1. Thank you.
Yes.
That makes me feel very good. And,
what makes you think we don't read them?
What's that?
I'm just trying to suck up. No, I'm kidding.
What'd you say, Robin?
I said, what makes you think we don't read them?
Oh, you do probably too, and Dawn, and Ann.
Okay.
No, thank you. And I'm glad you went down there, Emily, and thanks for sharing also today.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, so some more add-ons. So there's Easy Bib, which I just added. The other one is a template gallery, which this is something that you don't really think about, but things that you need templates for or charts for. For example, they have resume templates, they have timesheets, budgeting tools, invoices, those type of templates, and then you can add them to your Google Drive, and then you can edit them and that type of thing. So that's something too that I've seen used. The highlighting tools, Dawn, have you used this?
Yes.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay, do you want to talk about that for a second?
Sure. The add-on lets the kids highlight the information, and then what's really nice is they can collect those highlights into another document, and all of it automatically saves for the students. And so then when I want them to write it in their own words, how it's written exactly from the document is there and highlighted and collected for them, and then how they want to rewrite it in their own words goes right below it. So before they start typing their paragraph, I can see, quick check to make sure that it's actually in their own words, because a lot of times they think they've changed one word and that's all they needed to change. The other nice part is they have the different colors there, and so if I want them to highlight text clues that show setting, they can do that in one color, vocabulary words that they need to know in another color, and then they can collect them by color. And so it'll sort them into however many different categories you want them to have. So it's really nice and really easy for the kids to use. They like it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I knew you were using one of those tools. The other one that I've seen, there's the calculator. Easy Accents, if it's a foreign language class. I've seen that one. let me see. They just have a lot, as you can see. There's the tag cloud generator. The other one is, let me see if I can find it here. They're always adding these too, which is nice. Oh, PDF. So there's a couple different PDF ones here, and I've had a couple teachers ask me how to take a PDF and make it so you can edit it. Well, you can do that with Google Docs. So if you have a PDF file, just put it in your drive, and then go in to click on the document, and this will automatically convert it once you'll select one of these apps. When you click on it, it will say open with, and if you do something like PD Filler, or there's a couple other ones, then it will let you convert it, and then you can edit it. So that is something too, especially if you don't have the Adobe program on a certain computer and you want to be able to edit a PDF document. So that's kind of a nice one. There's a couple other things that I wanted to mention. And the one is something that Annette had talked to me about. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, it's in the Chrome Web Store. And with us going one-to-one, this, I think, is a really good tool that we can have our students know about and possibly use. It's called Stay Focused. And what it does is it limits the screen time for students, because a lot of students feel like they're only on the computer for 10 minutes when it's really been 40 minutes. Okay, and one of the concerns that we are hearing is, a lot of parents and teachers are concerned about how much screen time our students are going to have using the Chromebooks. So Stay Focused is one thing we can do in particular, and what it is it's just a Chrome add-on, so it will be added on, and it will actually just go up here near the top of your menu, and you can set it to whatever time you want. So you can set it to 10 minutes, you can set it to an hour. And when the time is up, your screen will actually go into like a sleep mode, and it will actually Stay Focused. You'll get a pop-up, and it will say, okay, take a break. So this is just kind of a fun thing that we can add on, and they're working on additions like adding music or something like that to kind of wake, say, hey, the music's on, you need to stand up, you need to take a break, all that type of thing. This is also something we can share with parents, because if the parents are very concerned about the kids having homework and using the Chromebooks with homework, if the Stay Focused app is on their student's account, then they can have that and know about it and make sure the students are using it. So that's something, the Stay Focused one. There was another one that Annette had shared in another know-how. I'm trying to think of which one it was. If I think of it, I'll let you know. But it's a fitness add-on. So what happens is you can set it for a time, and then it has you do an exercise. So for example, every 15 minutes, it's an add-on, so it'll go up here. Every 15 minutes, you'll get a pop-up, and it will say, okay, go ahead and do 30 seconds of jump roping in place, or do just minor exercises. But it just gets students up and moving and that type of thing. So clearly, this is something that Google's trying to address by adding these type of add-ons. And I think it's a good first step in kind of addressing that and making sure that we're not just all staring at screens, the entire day. So that's something that they can do. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else. There was another thing that I learned that I'll just briefly share too, and it's in Google Forms. And it is a form limiter, because if you're doing a survey and you only want students to take the survey for maybe that day, and you don't want them to go home and take that survey, or you only want 20 entries in your survey, you don't want 21 entries. What you can do is go to add-ons in your Google Sheets, click Get Add-ons, and it's called the Form Limiter. Maybe not. Some type of limiter. And what it does, I don't know why it's not popping up. I might have the wrong name in my notes. But what it does is you can then set it so that after 25 entries or after a certain date, the form you can access it, but it won't let you submit it. So, for example, if you're doing some type of award and you want students to fill out the form and the first 10 students get bonus points, well, it's going to automatically turn it off so that at the 11th student won't be able to won't be able to submit the form. And I will figure out what the name of that was. I thought it was form limiter, but I'm not sure.
It is. I don't know why it's not coming up. It's coming up on my other computer.
It is? Okay.
Look it up. Yeah, it is form limiter, and the L is capitalized. Everything else is lowercase.
Okay.
But it looks just like what you put in.
I know. I don't know. It could be just something that has been turned off in our Nordonia schools account.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. I don't know. I'll look into that, though. I'll make a note. But okay, at least I'm not going crazy. It is called form
It is
limiter.
there. Yep.
Okay, good. Good to know. Okay, so that's another tool that Annette has used, and she had talked to me about it. So I thought it would be a good one. Do any of you have anything else that you want to share, or an add-on or something you're using that you think would help, especially with the Chromebooks?
You mentioned all the ones I've used. Have you heard of I saw on your screen, and someone mentioned it to me, Nearpod?
Yes.
What is that?
Nearpod it's a student response system add-on. And what it is, and I haven't used it on the Chromebooks, but I've heard it works very well. What you do is it basically shares your screen with all the other devices in your classroom. So before it was an iPad app, and the way it worked was you had the teacher iPad, and then you had the students go to a website on their iPad, and they would see whatever you were seeing on your screen on their screen. And so it was a way that teachers could upload, a survey or a document or something, and have the students do it all together on their own devices. With the Chromebook app, I haven't tried that one yet, but it works very similar. I don't know how you would push it out to all the devices. I haven't played around with that one yet. But the thing with Nearpod is I think you only have so many times you can use it before they start charging.
I figured there was some type of catch.
Yes. So I think you can do like 2 or 3 activities with the Nearpod for free to try it out, and then after that they want you to pay. And that was something too that was addressed with Plickers. There's a concern that Plickers may charge. There was also a concern about Kahoot, which we had shared in another know-how session, which is also kind of a quizzing type of game activity. Kahoot is just hugely popular right now, about Kahoot possibly charging in the future too. I don't think that's a major concern. I don't think it's going to be as big as, I don't think they're going to charge, especially if they realize teachers aren't going to pay for a ton of money for it. So a lot of the Google apps you will see are have charges to them. And that's something that you just kind of have to see if it's worth the money, if it's worth the time to do that. But there's so many free stuff out there. I say go for the free stuff, see if the free works, and and if you have to buy it, it's okay. Like for example, Animoto. I love Animoto, which is a slideshow tool, and I use Animoto all the time. And for me, it's worth $30 a year to pay for it because I love it and I use it all the time. So it just kind of is up to you and what you think would be benefit. But I know Nearpod has a fee. I just don't know what it is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Angela, I got to check out. Thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Robin. Thanks
Always
for joining
learn a
us.
ton from you.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Well, I don't have anything else, to be honest. Does anyone else have anything? Now, Emily, would you go back to the conference next year?
Yeah, I wish I could have gone both days. I only went one. I wish I could have gone longer. And it just everybody was there there was just like a really good energy. Everybody was like super excited about education and about technology and implementing technology. So it was like just like a great little, I don't know, environment there. So, and I mean, I met a lot of people, started following like all these people on Twitter and a bunch of different like Twitter chats and stuff. So Yeah, if anything, it was like a really good networking
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great networking thing. I'm always, interested to see how other districts are using technology in the classroom, and it always makes me feel good when I go to those sessions, and it's like sometimes I'm like, ooh, I know a little bit more about this topic than the presenter. So it always makes me feel good. It shows us that Nordonia is on the right path.
Yeah.
Um, and I totally agree with the point that, you know, the the online resources and the educational technologies, they're tools to, have tools to help with learning.
Mhm.
And that's something too that I always try to tell, remind teachers about. It's not about, the flashiness or, although it's fun, it's, the ultimate goal is for students to learn and for students to be successful. So, and I think that's what I love. The keynote speakers were really good. The one was all about coding, which we are for Digital Academy. We're going to talk about coding at our next session. Coding in the classroom. Coding is really, really big right now with educational technology. And the keynote is a Pixar studio. She works for Pixar. She does like photography or something. And she was fantastic. And she just talked about how her teachers showed her that she could code and that it's not a girl thing, it's not a boy thing. Coding is, if you have that time, if you have that passion, go for it, and you can make a career out of it. So she literally, does that type of stuff for a living, which was cool to kind of hear about. Um, and
One more of my takeaways. I just kept saying, "Oh, I can't wait to wear one-to-one. I can't wait to wear one." Because there were so many times I was like, "Oh, that'd be great if we had Chromebooks every day." So definitely looking forward to that.
yes, yes, and I feel like it's very refreshing when you hear other districts that have done this and they're on their second, third, fourth year and they have, positive things to say about it, how it's totally changed the way teachers teach for the good, and how, the students are just so engaged in it, and, how they're really taking ownership of their learning. So I don't know, it's a very exciting time, I think. And so I think it was a very good conference overall. And so I enjoyed it. Okay, well, and I will be going to Neoties. Is anyone going to the Neoties conference on Saturday? No? Okay. Nope. Okay. It's at Beechwood. So if I get any ideas there, I will pass them on as well. So I'm going to a few sessions, one about Pear Deck, which is a new resource, and a
Alice
couple
Bender
other.
and I just got a PTA mini grant for Pear Deck.
Oh, cool!
That soon.
Awesome. Well, Dawn, maybe you'll have to do a know-how Nordonia session on that.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Dawn to go out and present all that she's been doing.
I know. Come on, Dawn. Let's go.
I'm getting closer. Baby steps.
That's good.
Baby steps are good. Good, good. All right. Well, we will go ahead and take off for the evening. Thank you again for joining me, and I will email out to you the links from today, so you have them in your email, but I'll also put them on the Weebly for the Nordonia Tech Weebly, so you'll have them there too. And again, if you need anything or if you have questions or something isn't working right, just shoot me an email, and I will help as much as I can help. And keep on keeping on.
Thank
Keep
you.
warm.
All right. Okay, yeah, keep warm, everybody. All right, see you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.